Alright, well, in case you're wondering how much fuel it takes to completely flood a small block Chevy, watch this barrel. Yeah, so that's a problem. Yeah, isn't that fun? So I gotta fix that. I'm hoping this injector is just stuck because there's crap in it. Fingers crossed, stay tuned. What is up, guys? Welcome back to Daily Misfire. I realized I forgot to do an intro on this video. So here I am doing one now after I've done everything that you're going to see. This is going to be a very budget-minded, budget-friendly way on how to clean out your injectors and to try to get them to unstick. So if you are looking to try to find a kit or something like that, or trying to build something out, for roadside repair on your injectors on your aftermarket fuel injection, or even if you have, an 05 Chevy truck and you want to try to be able to clean out injectors. I don't know how easy they are to get to, but say if you have a throttle body injection or some sort of injection like that, this will be a way for you to potentially clean them out on the side of the road. Or if you don't have the ability to get injectors in a timely manner to be able to move your car like I did, this is the video to watch. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to be building a really cool setup that is like literally, if you have a battery, which you have a car, so you have a battery, you need alligator clips, brake carb clean, and a tire pressure valve, or a Schrader valve, which I will get into all that very soon. But until then, hope you guys enjoy this. And the Nova does run now, so there's your lead up and your reassurance that this does work, because you saw how bad it was earlier and now it runs the way it should. So have fun. All right, probably the absolute most jankiest way I can test this injector. So it turns out the thing I cut off is actually very handy for testing, like figuring this kind of thing out. What I did is, power positive, negative. You put one of these guys on here, you put the other one on there. Let me see if I can kind of do this real quick so you can hear. So positive on, and you can hear it clicking. So when I first started doing this, that was like barely clicking. It was so quiet, I could barely hear it. I went to this one and it sounded very similar to this one. So I'm hoping that's all it was, and that there was some crap in it, and now that I put like 12 volts solid to it, it's good, or it opened up whatever it was that got through it. I'm going to clean this guy, I'm going to clean that guy, I'm going to take them all off and clean them all real quick. And I think I'm just going to kind of shoot brake clean, or I have injector cleaner too. I can run through it real quick, and I think that might be able to, that might be the best option here. The fancy thing is there's a $350 test bench on eBay that you can buy, and it helps you flow them and all that really fancy stuff. I don't have that. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to try to clean these. I may, yeah, I'll look and see how I can clean these guys. Maybe one of those things where I take the seals off and soak them or something. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research before I do that, because if you look on this guy, you can see kind of around the O-ring, there's some kind of crap on it. So alright, so I have my plan of attack. This is very janky, but it will work. So SixtyFiveFord on YouTube, which I'll link right here, had this absolute ingenious idea of using a Schrader valve stem as your injector port for brake clean or carb clean. I'm going to use carb clean, but you basically do what I was doing earlier with the 12 volts. Put this guy on the pressurized side. You drill a tiny little hole for the brake clean hose to go through there. And now you have a janky pressurized system to blow cleaner through on that guy. So I need that stuff, need a tiny little hole on that guy. Carb clean with the little fun hose. There's your, I don't know what this is. If you have a battery, if you have a battery sitting around, otherwise it's $130. But, cheapo cables, Schrader valves, $5. Brake clean or carb clean, $5. And I had this in a tire wheel that I sneaked out. But yeah, you take the little check valve out of the inside of it, so it's just basically a tube. Put that guy on there, drill a little hole for that little tube to go through. Put this guy, you take this side off. So you take this O-ring off and you fit that guy around the outside of this, and there you go. So I'm going to do all that real quick, set it up, and then you guys will get to see it. You're getting like the 4-year-old point of view watching me do this. It helps if you have the drill bit straight. Perfect. Little hole. Put that guy on there. Here, I'm going to do this because I don't have my setup to like hold anything right now. So I'm going to do this real quick and show you guys how it looks. Behold my genius. So I'll link the guy's video down again in the description, and I'll put it right here on how genius that guy is. Thank you for that. So I cut these two battery cables off of the Nova wagon outside, just so I have a spot where I can crimp to easy, and that way I'm not using 4 different hands that I don't have. And you got your carb clean right here. You have your air bleed, your straighter valve, tire valve right here. You cut a tiny little hole in that guy, and your injector goes in right here. You make sure you take the little O-ring off on this side. That way, this is fully pressurized and sealed. When I first started doing this, it was not taking full pressure through, and I have to kind of hold it right here. But hopefully it doesn't shoot off right now if I don't hold it. But look at that. How genius is that? Ready? I'm going to call that clean. And that was the problem child one. So before, I had to physically hold this on there to like make sure it had, it was sealing, because it was just shooting this off because it was, I guess, too much pressure. So that means there was crap in it, and I shot it out over the floor somewhere, and now this injector should be totally clean and good to use. So, hello. Don't touch those. But you can hear it now. And it sounds good. So I'm going to rock with that one, and I'm going to clean the other 3 the exact same way, just so that way I know they're all good. And we're going to cross our fingers and hope that fixes the car. And then I need to change the oil because there's gas in the oil. Because, that's what happens when you put 1.5 gallons of gas in it and it doesn't really run. Poor little 350. But yeah, I'm going to go through that. So time-lapse time. Okay, so hypothetically, those 4 injectors are clean. So fingers crossed, like I said before, that actually worked, and that was the issue that made that injector one absolutely just like hate life and dump all the fuel into the engine. So we're going to cross our fingers, throw all this stuff back in, and we're also going to cross our fingers that I can crimp the wires and everything on this injector wire, because I thought I cut that longer than I did, and I really didn't. So kind of shot myself in the foot there, but let's see if I can pull one out of my butt and fix it. So put those guys back in like Legos. It's not actually that bad. Which that just means whatever it didn't catch went through the engine. I'm going to carb clean this guy real quick and throw it back in there. and we'll put it back in the car, and we'll start the car and see if it actually wants to start. Yeah, I'd be what you would call a dumb individual if I didn't actually like check this and make sure it was actually cleaned and all that stuff. I'm also gonna cross my fingers that the O-rings holding the injectors in aren't gonna leak, because they kind of got tore up as they were going back in. So fingers crossed on that one. Okay, hold on to your butts. I cleaned the filter out because I'm not stupid, and I wanted to make sure that there was nothing in there. So now it's just whatever. I am dumb enough to leave the lines intact without whatever was in the lines is in the lines. But the injectors are clean. Fingers crossed the back ones don't leak. Fingers crossed that my wiring job worked in the front and it works as good as it looks. And that all the barrels fill up with fuel the way they should, and it actually wants to start. So it doesn't flood itself. And once it starts, then I know that I can like change the oil and stuff, because right now there's fuel in the oil and I don't want to run it for too long, because that's bad. So fingers crossed, hold on to your butts, you know, pray to your favorite religious belief. I'm not picky. I'll take whichever ones you want. Oprah. It seems like it did a lot. Injector number 2 has a fault code. Clear it. So it just said injector 2 has a fault. These are all the intermittent faults, so if it doesn't necessarily show that it's having a fault, it'll show them here. That's positive. 55, so it was showing 36, now it's 55. Poor thing. We're gonna try one more time and then see. It's spraying fuel at the top. Value error, that's cool. Oh, because that's right, dummy. I broke it. Let me unplug this thing real quick. O2 heater open. Oh yeah, because I took the O2 sensor out. Which is probably that guy. So let me plug that guy back in, and we'll just see. Well, it started, and then my light fell on the alternator. So I turned that off real fast. So let me plug the O2 sensor in, and let's just see if it wants to start at all. Okay, that's plugged back in. I don't want to run it for too long because, like I said, there's probably a lot of shnikes, just crap, in the fuel system or in the engine itself. So, and the oil and all that stuff. I'm sure it doesn't like that. So I'm going to drain the oil. I'm going to pull all the plugs out because I'm sure the plugs look nasty and they're covered in fuel. So I'm going to pull all the plugs out probably tomorrow morning at this point. Go to O'Reilly's, get oil, pull the plugs tomorrow, get them cleaned up, or I'll get new ones because they're auto lights and they're cheap. Yes, I do run auto lights. I know everyone hates them, but they work fine. Or actually, these are AC Delcos. But anyway, they all work okay. The people that hate auto lights, stop it. You're fine. That was very feminine. Stop it. But yeah, so we're going to get that. It seems, after it did that first time, when I cleared everything, it seemed to want to stop it. So hopefully, it works the way it should now. And isn't it absolutely just dump fuel down the carburetor and or throttle body and kill it and not make it want to run at all? So, fingers crossed. We're going to try it in the morning, see if it starts again, and go from there. I'm also going to put a battery tender on it because it was being very, very lazy if you couldn't hear it. So, I'm going to do that too. Because that's a good battery and I don't want to kill it. So, I will see you guys in the morning. Okay, so it is the next day. I've been working on the dually, getting hood seals on it, which I don't know if I'll make a video on that one, but I'll at least tell you guys about it later. But yeah, so we got the plugs out, and they look delicious. Like, zoom, focus, focus, focus. Yeah, there you go. Look how bad those look. So now I'm going to drain the oil out of the thing. Hopefully it doesn't look too bad. Hopefully it doesn't have, like, pieces in it and hard metal in it, and we'll kind of go from there. I have new oil. They didn't have spark plugs. We have new oil and filters, so we'll put all that stuff in it. We'll kind of go through that. But really, the main thing I need it to do is just run and get out of the way and get out of the shop right now because I need to work on some other stuff. And I don't need to be working on this right now because there's really no racing going on. Over winter, I'm going to do some stuff. We're going to do some fun things. But that's not today. So, it needs to not be here anymore because it needs to be out in the other garage. So, fingers crossed it all works and it doesn't do that again. Or if it does, I need to get new injectors and stuff like that. But at least we know the solution and we have a fix. So now I can set up a fix injector bag in the car. So then if something like this happens again, I know kind of an idea of what to do and I can do it fairly quickly. And I can get through that, process. And if we're at the racetrack and it happens, if you're on the road and that happens, there's a way to fix it. So, yeah, just kind of the more you know. Another thing I forgot to mention is since I had to change out the spark plugs in the Nova, if you want a piece of 12-second horsepower fed AC Delco history out of my Nova, I will be selling these as a bottle opener. Yeah, so I'm going to turn these guys into bottle openers like this guy is. This is an Autolite, I think got 26, another Chevy plug, but they have a little nice leather strap on them and stuff like that with the nice bottle opener. These are a really nice bottle opener. I've given them out to people and stuff, and they all absolutely love how this bottle opener works. They love it. It is fantastic. It is probably the best bottle opener you've ever seen. Yeah. So if you want a spark plug, if you want a bottle opener like that, they'll be AC Delcos, so they'll be more GM-ified. Message me on Instagram. I think they're on Etsy right now. They'll also be on the website very soon. So, back to the video. And dunk. Ugh. Oh, you poor thing. That 100% doesn't look like... Oh, that smells a lot like gas. This is 2050. Or it was 2050. Ugh. It just smells like gasoline. You poor little engine. You can see it dripping out right there. For those of you wondering how much gas is in the oil, So this is, you know, the 2050. It's not very, you know, it's pretty honey-like. I mean, it's pretty thick and choppy. Meanwhile, you know, this is the oil that came out. So fingers are clean now. I mean, and yeah, that's nasty. Smells like gasoline. Poor thing. So now it has back to the 2050 VR1 racing and classic cars, which I don't think I really necessarily need it for the hydraulic roller that's in the car, but the bearings and everything that are in the, you know, 120,000 mile stock bottom end truck motor, like it. So it's for all that stuff, and it doesn't hurt the cam. So we're gonna keep rolling with that. Hopefully I put more oil in it. We're gonna try to start it up right now, and we'll see if it actually runs the way it needs to. So fingers crossed, hold on to your butts. Alright, so hopefully all those plug wires are actually on the right cylinders, and ready? Woohoo! Up a little bit and then kind of rack it, just watch the injectors, and we'll kind of see what it's doing there. It's smoking a little bit. I wonder if there was a little bit of oil on anything. Definitely not. We also need to keep an eye out on the injectors on the back side, because they were because of the O-ring situation like I talked about last night. So fingers crossed it's all okay. But you know, the ear detector doesn't hear anything heinous, and it sounds pretty good. So we might have gotten lucky and didn't hurt anything. I'm going to leave it in here just for that reason. Let it warm up. Alright, so I just started the Nova up again, and looked in the computer and everything quickly, because it's leaking out of the back. Like I said, those O-rings are a little conchungered. Definitely my fault on that part. But there's no real long codes or no long faults like it used to have on it, so that's a very good sign. When I did run it just a little bit ago, and you might have seen it in the video before, one of the injectors is a little bit not as good as the others, so it's kind of weak compared to the other four, or other three, I guess. So I'm maybe talking to FiTech about an injector, just to try to see. I might get a couple more just so that way I have more. And then I'm going to look at a filter, because the Russell filter that I have on this is very different than the FiTech one, and I greatly prefer the way the FiTech one's built compared to that one. That one may be built to pass a little bit more, but at the same time, that one definitely will catch a whole lot more than that one, because it's like a washer compared to like a regular, like how a filter element inside is. It looks like a regular oil filter or something like that on the inside, and I greatly prefer the FiTech one that looks like an oil filter over the Russell one. Not saying the Russell one's bad, because obviously it's been fine on the Nova forever, but it also clearly let something by, and it got into the injector and probably hurt it to the point that it's probably not working like it used to. And that's definitely something that's in the fuel, not the fuel system, because the fuel system is literally all new. It's less than 5 years old. That's an aeromotive tank, new aluminum hardline for it. So I mean, it's all brand new stuff, pretty much less than 5 years old. So that being said, if you were looking for kind of a how-to clean out your injectors on a very cheap, budget-friendly way, I think that's a very effective way. And honestly, you could probably put that in like a to-go kit. If you're going on a road trip somewhere, obviously you might not need it if you're going to like the store or something like that, because then you're just AAA, you can just get towed. Because most of the time when even a carburetor goes out like that, you're probably just gonna get towed or have someone come get you. But if you're got, you know, in another state, you're on a drag and drive event, you're on things like that. If you don't have injectors with you, if you don't have something like that, or if it's being weird, you have a battery in your car, obviously, and you can pull the injectors out. You have alligator clips, carb clean, and like a Schrader valve or like a tire pressure, one of the little tire things. I can't think of the word right now. It's gonna be right here, because you know that's my brain doesn't work. But yeah, I mean, you have that kind of stuff, and you clean it up, and it'll work. We've proven that it'll get you off. It'll start, and it'll get you off the road if you need to. But yeah, I mean, the hard things with fuel injection is gonna be like the ECU, injectors, even an O2 sensor sometimes. The hard parts are the hard parts to like find. So if you can get by say fixing an injector, fixing stuff, and cleaning it up to get you to the next place, or to get you somewhere to where you can fix something, that is what you want to try to do. And that, hopefully, a fix like that gets you there. Or even if you're just trying to drive around your, you know, your crew cab truck and an injector's stuck and you're trying to get it unstuck, that'll definitely work. It'll totally work on a non-performance, just street level. That'll get you down the road absolutely for probably a long time. I don't know how long that fix would be, but I mean, it could be potentially, you know, forever kind of thing, in the next couple of years, until you do, and you know, change injectors, because you do that kind of stuff inevitably. Which, you know, there's even the carburetor guy out there is like, I never have to change injectors and stuff, because, you know, I have, you know, a carburetor and they're all mechanical. Yeah, but you have to clean up the floats, you have to set things, clean it out every once in a while, do all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that doesn't cost necessarily money, but you know, accelerator pumps do, gaskets do, the stuff that goes away in those, they do. And that being said, I guarantee you, if you're that, you know, guy that loves carburetors over fuel injection, what do you drive on a daily basis? Most of you drive, you know, an LS truck. You drive a fuel injected something on a daily basis, because, you know, the 5 of you that don't, good job on you. I you know, we can be friends. But I guarantee you, most of you drive some form of fuel injection on a daily basis, and when fuel injection goes out, you have to just replace things, because that's just what happens. I would also like to mention that a couple years ago, FiTech didn't sponsor me with this fuel system that's on the car right now. So the FiTech fuel injection throttle body and the computer and everything, they gave that to me a couple years ago. So you know, very thankful that they did that, and just, you know, to let you guys know that they did do that. And they do help me out on quite a bit of stuff on the cars. They've sent me some things that I just needed. Every once in a while, they'll just send it to me. So I do definitely appreciate that. But saying that, everything that goes on with these things, if it's a good or a bad thing, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to be a shill and, you know, tell you, well, they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. For the normal, average streetcar guy that wants to go out every Saturday night and have fun on the racetrack, they want to go on a drag and drive, they want to do these things, these are hard to beat. I mean, they do every little thing that you want to do right. I mean, this one, driving from Bristol, or driving from Darlington to Rockingham to Bristol, back to Darlington, or back to Carolina Dragway, and then back to Darlington on Drag Week last year, that was, you know, 1,000 miles. I never touched the computer once. I never tuned anything one time ever, the entire drag and drive. There was guys literally going from Darlington to Rockingham, which are pretty much sea level, maybe a couple hundred feet, to Bristol, which is, you know, 2,000 feet. They're changing carburetors out, and this was totally fine the entire time. It just drove, and we just kind of cruised and putted, and it was totally fine. I was opening up the headers and closing the headers, which they're not supposed to like, and it didn't care. It has a this camshaft has a 107 lobe separation angle, which EFI isn't supposed to like, and this one doesn't care. It just runs. I mean, it's 1250s, gets mid-teens for mileage on a 350. I mean, with a pretty radical cam and stuff like that, which, you know, a carburetor would be loading up. It would do stupid things. You would hate life. This will sit in traffic as long as you want. This will do everything you want it to until it sticks an injector. But saying that, that's probably after close to 10,000 miles at this point on this setup. So I cannot complain about that. That's the one issue that I've had so far out of the entire thing. I'm not going to complain. That dually has a used, probably 5-year-old at least, system. That's a 600 horsepower system. And all I bought that one. It needed an ECU. I changed out the ECU. I bought the ECU from them, swapped it out, and it's been on that truck. And ever since I put that on the truck, I went from getting about 7.5 miles a gallon with the 7.5 to 8 to 11.5 with from a Edelbrock 750 to a FiTech system. So I picked up a couple miles a gallon, and it tows phenomenally better. It doesn't have any kind of low spot or low, you know, blah 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 blah. It doesn't do that kind of crap. Tows the trailer phenomenally well. I don't have to downshift going up hills anymore because I think it picked up quite a bit of low end torque. If I'm being honest, it picked up a lot. Abby's Camaro runs phenomenally better compared to what it used to with the carburetor. And that is also the one that's on her car was the one that I first bought for 450 bucks probably 4 or 5 years ago. That is a Gen 1 old school system on that car, and it still runs like a top. I've literally had not a single issue with that system. So yeah, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. But saying that, you know, I am sponsored, however, they work great. And that is my honest opinion. If they were complete pieces of crap, I would tell you, and I wouldn't have them on 3 separate vehicles. So, with that being said, I'll see you guys later. Be sure to like and subscribe, and keep up with us, because pretty soon I'm going to get another FiTech thing, a different kind of FiTech thing, and it's going to help put an overdrive in that truck. Yeah, so stay tuned. Peace.